Thank you. It's a little different story than Rambler in that we're focusing on gold, although we're in the same neck of the woods. I think we can get through that quickly. I just want to point out some of the assets of our Newfoundland, what we think is Newfoundland's next gold mine, and it will be a large one. It's we have a camp-sized property, 240 square kilometers. And we have 30 meters of a gold-bearing fault zone that comes through our property. This fault zone, the Cape Ray structure, continues through the the island. We've only really looked at about 15% of our property in any detail. Part of that's because of topography, and part of it is because up until just recently, we really had limited financial assets, money. So. We can access the site year-round by road. We're about 90 kilometers from the nearest town. From the nearest town, it's a paved highway, half-hour drive to the Trans-Canada Highway at Badger. So we're a really good location. We're just far enough away that we don't get bothered by people, but we can access all of the facilities in the area. We've got close to 2 million ounces. I know you're not supposed to add measured, indicated to inferred, but everybody does anyway. So most of this is, 80% of this is pit constrained. And it's at a grade of roughly 2 grams. So this is a very good grade. And we've been working on this project for 7 years. It's taken us longer than what we'd initially hoped it would take to get to this point, largely because all the money dried up and our stock price went down, and all the juniors went through that. But while we were doing that, we did spend a lot of time looking at the geology, going over reports, and thinking about all of the core and the outcrops we had. And we do fully understand now what's going on as far as the gold-bearing veins go. And that's helped us a lot in our drilling. So we do have a proven track record. This used to be called Marathon PGM in the past, and we're a spin out of that. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I'm the president and CEO, and I have a lot of mining experience. This is mining experience, not just exploration. In the past, I was a chief geologist for LAC Minerals. Area Chief Mine Geologist for Pamour Porcupine Mines, and I've got a lot of gold experience that way, and also I spent time with juniors. I've also helped to put into production a series of mines, both with a junior and with a major, including the Williams mine at Hemlo. I was the chief geologist there and helped to design it and bring it into operation. Sherry Dunsworth's are a really great asset for us. She lives on the island. We've worked together for about 10 years now, and she's got her master's in structural geology, and that's been a really good asset in understanding what's going on the property. The other connection, she has great connections with the government. She's been there with government and with the local mining community, and that's definitely helped us a lot. Just a cap shot, we're hanging in around $1. We're going through a period of changing of share ownership. A lot of people that bought stock at 20 cents and 30 cents are taking their profits, and other people are coming in, so we're just in a state of flux, really. We do have increased coverage. We've got Beacon, Canaccord, and Haywood, and there's 2 other companies that are initiating over the next few months are initiating coverage as well. So we're moving up. The Marathon Gold team, we've done it before, and I just wanted to mention the Marathon PGM. We continually increased the resource there. We went through PEA, through two PEAs and some feasibility studies, all the while increasing our resource. We will follow the same model. We'll continue even as we put out a PEA next year. We'll still be drilling. We'll actually be drilling all year and continuing to add to the resource. And we did sell this to Stillwater And when we did sell it, combined, the total value to the shareholders was $4.84. So we'd like to do that again. Our chart here shows our increase in resource. It's costing us an average about $10 an ounce to find gold so far, but we haven't factored in the new results yet, so we'll have to see what they're like. But the only thing that's held us back in increasing our resource has been the availability of money. We've raised enough money to keep going and not dilute ourselves as highly as we could. And I think this is paying off for us now. Now we can raise money at a much better rate and less dilutive. We're in an old mining district in Newfoundland, in central Newfoundland. We're just south of the historic mining town of Buckens. The Duck Pond mine is near us as well. These are all base metal mines, much like Rambler's mining. They also have a fair bit of gold in them. These are older deposits than what ours is. We're in the center of this. We've actually created a staking rush last year. All of the belt from one end of the island, 300 kilometers or so, is staked solid now because of what we've done. We have great access here, as I mentioned, all-weather road. We also have 2 power lines nearby that we can hook into at the right time. And we have a workforce that's a resident that knows their mining, people from Duck Pond. Also, there's a lot of people that live on that side of the island from Fort McMurray, and they'd far rather drive a truck in our pit than they would drive in and go to Fort McMurray. That's the way Newfoundlanders are. They'd rather be home. The property itself is quite large. There's a large pink body in it that's very important. This is an old intrusion. The faults have ruptured this intrusion, and the gold has come in and filled the fractures. We have gold in all rock types, but our focus has been on the intrusion where we believe the biggest deposits will be found, and that seems to be proving out. The 2 largest deposits to date are Leprechaun, which was found by others, and Marathon, which we found ourselves. The Marathon deposit appears to be potentially the largest. We also have a large area to the northeast of us, circled in blue, that is unexplored or very by us. There's good good potential there. Antler Resources has some mineralization, and we actually have historically from Noranda gold mineralization as well, so we're looking at that. We've done some conceptual site plan work showing that a site layout with the mill probably located at the Marathon deposit. The areas in brown are areas that we expect will be rock storage facilities, tailings, whatever. And those are areas that we have to have a good environmental look at this year, as well as condemn some of the ground, because we know there's, especially at north of Marathon, there are gold veins. Resources are split from underground and open pit. Our grade is quite good, and the underground is something we're still working on, but it's definitely that's where the expansion will occur unless we can find another open pit, and I think we can. Metallurgy is really good. 45 to 65% of the gold comes out as a gravity concentrate. We get 97% recovery in flotation and gravity, and we can also heap leach it. It'll actually leach because we have a lot of free gold. We can get 70% recovery after 130 days in leach, and the gold is still coming out. Probably we'll mill it, some of it, but we have the option to possibly heap leach low grade. And the PEA that will be going into this fall will give us an idea as to what that's going to be. We don't have any arsenic, antimony, mercury, any of the bad stuff. This is really clean stuff. Our mineralization is not in big veins, it's in small veins, but a lot of them. The black stuff's tourmaline, the white is quartz, and you can see the veins coming across the thing with the picture with bleeding of tourmaline into the foliation. That also has gold in it. Like quite often we'll see visible gold even in these fine fractures. So But what we see is stacking of these things. And the stacking is, and that's the change in the thought that almost all of the gold-bearing veins are stacked. Some of them are not, some of them are vertical, but most of them are flat. And that's something they're called extensional veins. It's not uncommon. It's, we've been compared by different people to Lamax Sigma, in different studies. Here you can see a core that was drilled in Marathon, that was drilled down dip. They would call it down dip, but down the foliation. And you can see the veins outlined in red, and they're at right angles to it, and that's exactly what you'd expect. The mineralization, there is mineralization in between. If we, these boxes ran about 4 or 5 grams. Leprechaun, exactly the same thing. Different host, exactly the same thing. And so that's our model, and that's what we're using. We actually work with the model in our resource estimations. The quartz vein packages are what are modeled. This is a Marathon. Quickly, I'll go through it. That's the resource pit. This is our block model from February. You can see a large pit and some small ones. The drilling that we've done in the past few months actually goes beneath this diagram. So I'm going to, unfortunately, this is mirror image, but in blue is what's going to go into the new resource. The red has 1 million ounces in it. The blue, we have deep holes down as far as a kilometer, still in mineralization. This is a big system. This is something like, it's starting to look like Young-Davidson or look like significantly large deposit. In cross-section, it's sort of pipe-like. Again, continuous mineralization in the pipe. We have a large area in between Leprechaun and Marathon that's unexplored. That's a target. Leprechaun, you're looking at, you can see the flat veins in it. The red vein, or the main zone, is actually composed of flat veins as well, and they can be quite high in grade. This is a cross-section showing 5 gram material over 18, 19 meters, bleeding off into the hang wall. So in wrapping up, we've got 2 deposits already with 1 million ounce plus in them. They're open in different directions. We have a top mining jurisdiction we're in. We've got lots of help from the government. We own 100% of this property. And we have a proven geological model that works, and that's really important because in the past, previous operators really didn't know what they were dealing with, and the drilling wasn't the way it should have been. We have no environmental red flags after 7 years of studies. We also have a 60,000 meter drill program going on, the biggest ever on the property, and we're hitting all the time. Excuse me. And we will be doing a new property-wide resource, completing it at the end of October. We'll still be drilling, but we need that for the base for the PEA. The PEA will start in the fall. We've hired a mining engineer, well-seasoned, who's done this before and who's previously an operator. He will be managing the PEA. We expect that PEA to be out at the in the second quarter of next year. We may we may revise the resource next in the first quarter of next year, depending on how our drilling results are, and those would be incorporated into the PEA. So we've got a lot going on. We have a multi-million ounce deposit and project, and good grades, great place to be, and we're really pumped. Thank you very much.